I'm not happy. I wish I was. It felt good, started feeling good, and then it went to shit. Thank you for the click. Today I'll be talking about Adobe Animate. I've just spent 2 days with this bad boy trying to get some shots in, and I did. By the way, I grew up on Macromedia Flash. I own Macromedia Flash MX. It's installed on this computer as well. Flash was what made me become an animator. There's nostalgic ties there. So day one was pretty great. It was all yesterday. I don't know, maybe spent like 6, 7 hours with it. I got myself really into it, meaning I set up all my shortcuts. Everything was good. I got things to where they needed to be for me to work comfortably, and I did all the drawing and coloring because I was working. I did a frame to frame, but it was kind of like a hybrid. It was frame to frame with some animation on pivots, and I prepared a whole bunch of mouth shapes and eye shapes. So I did a lot of drawing the first day, but I left the animation for day two. Day two, I dropped in, being today. I'm recording this on day two, by the way. So day one, peachy, I'd give it 10 out of 10. It felt so good that it was a very nostalgic, comfortable feeling. Everything was where it's supposed to be. And I really like that about Flash Animate. It's just great. Day two, the problem started to come up. First of all, I dropped in the audio for the voice file for me to be able to do the voiceovers, lip sync. And I was struggling. What should have taken maybe 15 minutes. Again, I had all the drawings drawn up. I had all the symbols prepared. I literally have to go in a spot on a timeline and hit a button to set that shape. And that took maybe 2 or 3 hours on a 15-second conversation exchange. And that was because I couldn't hear the audio. You have to set the audio to stream mode in Animate for it to be kind of scrubbable on a timeline. But the scrubbing is so bad, meaning like if you scrub slowly, you don't hear it. It just kind of gives you like ticks.
Time moves differently in this relationship.
Like a fraction of a sound on that frame. So you have to scrub quite drastically. You have to have fast motion to the scrubs to be able to hear the audio. And at that point, you can't really tell well where you are, like where that sound belongs. So that just drove me crazy. It took me forever. Part number two, there is an option. I think it's called asset warp, something like that. It's a way to kind of morph. It's like a lattice where you have a drawing and you can change the shape of the drawing by putting some pins in it. This is great because for example, I've had the shape of a head or a jawline, and this specifically happened with the jaw. And you put these pins in, and it's like, okay, when this person opens up their mouth for like an ah shape, I can just drop the jaw. I don't have to redraw it. I just make a copy of that frame and I change its shape, right? Simple enough. It worked great. I figured it out. Everything is fine. I moved on over to a different shot, and then I came back to this file because I divide my shots in different files. Did not realize that that stopped working. My jaws were no longer moving. Like I animated it. I saw the keys. The keys are there. They're animated, but the effect was lost. I went inside that symbol where I set that effect, and I saw it. It was still there. It's just that the image was not listening to the pins. What I had to do was click on that pin again. Even that did nothing. It didn't refresh it. And then move it slightly. And then the image snapped in. And what I came to realize was that this happens every time you load up a file. So if you're opening up Adobe Animate again, if you're restarting it, you have to remember, if you made this move, if you use this tool, it has now been sort of dormant. It's turned off. It's just not functioning. And I forgot about it. Right? At first, I didn't know about it. And then I kept forgetting about it. Whenever I jumped from one file to another, I would forget about it. And so when it came to the export time, I was like, wait, this looks okay. And then I'm like, wait, something's missing. What's missing? I'm like, my jaw's not moving. Let's go back in. Let's see what's happening. And, true enough, that thing was just not activating. So that was an issue I need to figure out. And I don't know in a production, like if you want to be free to move about, opening different files, doing this, going back to this file, that's a deal breaker for me. I'll forget about it. And that's a frustration I don't want to deal with because you don't pick up on these things. You're looking at the same drawings day in, day out, whatever, for many hours. You just forget the little details. And I forgot that the jaw wasn't moving. It took me a while to realize that it didn't export out. So not sure what's going on there, but it seems like an easy fix. Then Problem number three kicked in. And this was when I was jumping into symbols. If you know what symbols are, if you don't, you should. You're probably watching this because you're into Adobe Animate or you're thinking about it. It's like a self-contained animation, right? It's got its own timeline, and you create them by either right-clicking on a symbol or right-clicking on a drawing and turning that, modifying it, converting it to a symbol, or you can create an empty symbol and you can just draw inside of it. So a symbol, once you're inside, has a normal timeline just like your basic movie. And everything was fine. I had a few drawings, right, a few keyframes in the symbol, and then I jumped out. I was doing some other stuff, and I had to jump back in to make some edit. Like I wanted to tweak something in one of the drawings, and I've noticed that I think out of 5 or 6 drawing in that specific symbol, 2 or 3 were symbols themselves. I'm like, wait, I never put symbols inside of symbols. And then I went, but there it was. I had my drawing. Some of them were now symbols inside of a symbol, and I could right click on it and edit that symbol again. And again, it took me to the same symbol. And it was like an endless loop of me being in this one symbol that thought it had symbols inside of symbols nested, but it did not. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Took a while. Finally gave up. And I'm like, you know what? Have you tried turning it off and on, right? And I did that. I turned it off. I turned it back on. And voila, everything's fixed. Everything was normal. The symbol was normal. It just had drawings inside of it. What happened? I have no idea. But it happened. It happened, and it was annoying as shit. So we have the voice stuff, right? We have the symbols kind of acting wacky, and we have these pins that are not listening to Adobe Animate after you turn it off or after you load file. And on top of all of that, the crashes started happening. I had this crash twice. So on the first, this is the first thing I'm working on. It's a very, very simple animation, right? Probably see the guy behind me. Not a lot of stuff in there. Just 2 characters talking to each other, very simple. And 2 crashes. One of them gave me a pop-up that my Mac was running out of memory. I had nothing else going at the time. And it'll give you like this, Macs have this kind of this little pop-up thing where you can kill process. You can kind of kill what's causing an issue. And it showed right there, like the only one that was like highlighted in red was Adobe Animate. So that's definitely the thing with the problem. And yeah, so day one, I loved it. I was even telling my friend Steve, I'm like, listen, I like to feel the way I'm feeling right now when I'm animating this. I think your set of not a set, but I think like comfort level is important because you're spending a lot of time in front of a shot, and you should feel good about what you're working on. I was ready. I was ready to commit. If I could have finished that shot and felt that same way, I would recommend Animate to anybody. My problem with it is that when you are serious and when, for example, time is on the line, I couldn't predict some of these issues, right? That's why day one, I was 10 out of 10, like, this is awesome, love it. And day two, right now, I feel like a 3 out of 10. Again, the drawing, all that stuff is great. Drawing, coloring, perfect. The drawing tools are still feeling great. Although I was using the classic brush. But when it comes to actually like animating, not directly like frame by frame animation, but if you have like a bit of a hybrid rig and you have to work with audio, with voice work, it was tough to the point where I started complaining about it. I got so pissed. I decided I'm not going to work and animate anymore. It took 2 days, right? And I'll probably give it a break, and I'll probably go back in and do another shot just to make sure that this is not some fluke thing, but it's not. It's been happening all day today. I finally finished the shot. I'm done with it. I'm happy, but there's issues. Oh, there's one more issue. And this is where the difference between Animate and Toon Boom Harmony comes in. Animate has a really cool way of doing hierarchy, of setting parental kind of parent-children, what do you call them? Constraints. So you can sort of like, if you have a head and mouth on a separate layer, you tell the mouth layer that, hey, the head is my parent layer. So when I'm moving the head, the mouth follows, right? So that's how I set up my characters. This is what this hybrid style I'm talking about is, that you have some static movements, and then you also have some shapes that I can just swap that I hand drew. Now, everything's fine and dandy till I realized that as I was changing the mouth shapes, or I'm sorry, this was on the head. as I was changing the head shapes, the pins I was telling you about with like the mouth opening and the jawline dropping and going up, as I animated that, because I typically start animating with my lip sync, and then I'll follow with the jawline, then I'll do the eyes, then I'll do the body mechanics, right? So as I animated the jawline and the lip sync, I then wanted to turn the head, and I realized I couldn't do it because I already put all the keys for my jawline animation on that head. Now in Toon Boom, you can make a peg. So you have the whatever the layer that you're working on, and then you can add a peg to it. It's kind of like your, like a control point. And then so you can think about it as the layer you're working on is a sheet of paper, and then this peg allows you to control that sheet of paper, move it, rotate it, however you want this, right? Now you can do the same thing with Adobe Animate, because you have that. I think the Q tool, if you hit Q on a keyboard, allows you to kind of rotate things. Everything is fine. But if you already have keys somewhere, you can't you can't have a key that switches mouse and a key used for motion animation at the same time. So my solution to this was, okay, I'm just going to create something behind. I'm going to create like a little shape, a little circle shape, put it behind the head, parent that to the body, and parent the head to that little shape. No one would see it, and then I'll be able to rotate that shape, and the head will follow with all the mouth animations. Sounds, simple enough, even though we shouldn't even be going there, but I'm sure there's got to be a solution for it. I just don't know it because I've only been back for 2 days now and now leaving. But when I did that, everything started blowing up. Like when I would try to rotate the head, it would rotate like 360 degrees. I tried to put the pivots where they're supposed to be, to no avail. That didn't really work out. What I did is I decided to unrig everything, or by unrig, I mean just delete the hierarchy, parenting constraints, and then redo everything. And that helped for a little bit. But then I noticed that while it was working, or it looked like it was working, it was having these echo effects where like things were spinning on other frames. Like the head would work fine, but all of a sudden the mouth would which wasn't even connected to that shape, was doing a whole bunch of spins that were not even related in any way to the motion of that head. So a lot of problems, and this is an issue because I can't comfortably say, okay, this is going to work out. I can do a shot here and it's going to be fine. I can't tell myself as a client, because I was a client for this shot, right? Okay, you'll finish this in 30 minutes. No, that thing took 3 hours to figure out and to struggle through it. And I'm not happy about it. So I'm not happy. I wish I was. It felt good, started feeling good, and then it went to shit. And I really, really hope Adobe does not go and discontinue this program, because it is pretty great. It needs some fixes, and these fixes don't feel like a crazy ask from the community. And when I was looking into it, we didn't have an update for Adobe Animate since 2024, so it's not looking good. We're going on, this is going to be what, the second year? We already went 2 years without a new version, so it's tough. It's tough to see this go down the drain, but that's what it seems like is happening. So yeah, sorry to be so blunt with you guys, but it is what it is. I want to like it. I just can't get myself to do it. I want to. It would be great. I would love to use this program for everything, but it's got these issues, and it's not fun when you run into them. Anyhow, thank you guys for the clicks, for the comments. I'll catch you guys on the next one.